My neighbor moved out 3 weeks after I installed a security camera, and it was the best $200 I ever spent. When I bought my townhouse, the guy next door was Howard, a retired teacher who barely used our shared driveway. Then Howard's daughter moved him to assisted living and sold the place to Jules. Jules parked her silver Lexus right on the dividing line between our spaces from day one. I mentioned it while getting my mail, and she goes, "There's plenty of room," then walked inside. Okay then. Random cars started appearing after that. A red sedan one week, a black SUV the next, all parked like shit, forcing me to park on the street. One morning, I found a long scratch down my Honda's passenger side. A white minivan had been on Jules's side the night before and was gone by morning. The angle matched for someone backing out without looking. I ordered a Ring camera that day and mounted it on my garage. Jules texted me within hours. "The camera feels invasive. It's pointing at my driveway," I replied. The random cars kept coming, so I started checking footage on my phone. Strangers with rolling suitcases would pull up, check their phones, then use a lockbox by Jules's door. They'd stay a few days, then new people would show up. I counted 9 different groups in 10 days. That's when it clicked. Jules was running an Airbnb. I pulled up our HOA rules. Page 7 clearly stated no short-term rentals under 30 days. I called Donald, our HOA president, and sent him 2 weeks of footage. He called back in an hour. "This is a blatant violation. Sending a cease and desist today." 4 days later, Jules knocked on my door gripping the HOA letter. "You reported me?" "I reported parking issues and property damage. That footage is invasion of privacy. Cameras on my property recording my driveway. What you're doing is actually illegal." She left without saying anything. The guests kept arriving for 5 more days, then stopped. 2 weeks later, I pulled in from work to find Jules frantically loading boxes. A silver Honda pulled up and this guy in a polo shirt got out with a clipboard. Jules dropped her box and papers scattered everywhere. The inspector walked straight to her door and started taking photos. "We've received complaints about commercial activity without proper permits," he said. "I already stopped the rentals. Doesn't erase the violations. You'll receive a formal notice with fines." Jules looked over at me. She knew. 3 days later, a for sale sign showed up on her lawn. That evening, I came home to find Jules in my driveway with her hand covering the camera lens. "You ruined everything. I needed that income for my mortgage." "Then get a legal tenant," I said, walking past her. "That camera is coming down. Your lawyer already told you it's legal. That's why you're selling instead of fighting." Her face went red, but she had nothing to say. She stomped back, and I heard her yelling on the phone through the walls that night. The next morning, I woke up to banging sounds at 6 a.m. Jules was outside hammering a wooden post into the ground, trying to block the camera's view. I walked out in my pajamas. "What are you doing?" "I have a right to privacy on my property." "You're selling anyway. Why does it matter?" "I have showings this week, and I don't want your stupid camera recording potential buyers." She finished hammering and stepped back. The post blocked maybe a quarter of the view, but didn't actually obstruct anything. She stood there breathing hard like she'd won something. 2 days later, during an open house, I heard shouting. A couple was in Jules's driveway looking at their car. Fresh dent in the passenger door. Jules came running out. "What happened?" "Someone backed into us. We were only inside for 10 minutes. Jules's face went pale. She looked at my camera, then back at the couple. "I'm sure it was just someone from the street." "Can we see the security footage?" the husband asked, pointing at my camera. Jules stammered. "That's not my camera." They walked over to me. I was already pulling up the Ring app. Sure enough, someone leaving the open house had backed their F-150 right into the couple's BMW and drove off. "I'll airdrop this to you," I told them. "You can file a police report." Jules was standing frozen as they thanked me and went back inside, probably to reconsider their offer. The house sat on the market another week before Jules dropped the price by $15,000. A retired couple finally bought it. Jules' last day there, I watched from my window as she loaded her final boxes. She stopped at the end of the driveway and looked back at the camera. Then she got in her car and just sat there for a full minute, staring at my garage. Then she drove away.